ahead of them, I guess, due to the division thing. Chicago's looks great. I mean, they look terrific.
Well, the record is they have one more game played and it's an OT loss. So they only have one more point.
They look really good. I mean, some can argue they don't look as good as they should, considering how good of a team they have.
Which is right, but they're in the middle of the pack without even trying.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the scary thing, right? They're playing at probably about 80% capacity, and they're still in fourth. So if they decide to turn it on to full throttle, yeah, they're just going to decimate everyone. But yeah,
I wouldn't see them making a streak like they did last year, which I can't remember what it ended at. But I could see them doing a 10-plus game winning streak for sure. Whenever over Christmas or right before the Olympics, when they decide they need to take the conference.
Yep. Anaheim is proving that last year was no fluke in third place at 7-1-0. They're playing some.
And the 7-1-0 is 7 straight wins. I just wanted to throw that in there. They lost their first game of the season and haven't lost since then. So that's currently the longest streak in the NHL.
Yeah, they're playing some terrific hockey right now. They're looking excellent. Colorado's still up there, 7-1-0 as well. They are, I mean, what can you say about Colorado? Shutting everybody up. They, unlike Calgary, who started off strong and is now faltering a little bit. Colorado is still rolling along. They're proving that that first 5 games was no fluke. I mean, they look really, really good right now. You can't say enough about the young guys, Landeskog, McKinnon, especially Duchesne looks like he's really coming to his own this year. I know both of us last show were wondering if maybe Colorado still might miss the playoffs based on how they're, how we would expect them to finish off, but I don't know. I think if Colorado continues to play like they are, if they actually are this good consistently, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs no problem. They look really good right now.
Well, it's a good head start on the pack, but we will have to see how it goes.
You're still not 100% convinced they're making the playoffs?
No, I mean, a new coach with a new strategy and a lot of young energy can get you a significant amount of wins. It's playing consistency through 82 games, being able to keep up with the physical pace, the teams that have a little bit more experience on their end, a little more coaching experience as well. So it's going to get tough as it goes down the line, but hopefully their streak at the beginning here will help them keep a playoff spot. But I still think they're going to be, 6th or worse come playoff time.
Yeah, do you think if they go on a losing streak, Patrick Waugh would be allowed to go net for them?
That'd be hilarious if he was just able to throw on the pads. Or what happens if they're in a game and both goalies get injured in the same game?
Oh, out comes Waugh.
Right? He's just going to be like, well,
you look at the bench, it's just like a cardboard cutout of Waugh. Nobody notices. He's in the net. Or Varlamov is coaching, and they just look at Varlamov. They think he's Waugh. They don't even know the difference. Oh, my God. Patrick Waugh should troll the entire NHL and every ref in the next game they play and just go in the net. And just see how long it takes for them to notice, Just see how long.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Your ass just sneezed. And horses don't talk. No, this doesn't add up at all. Okay, first place Western Conference. Yes, San Jose still kicking ass. Thank God.
I don't care. They're going to make the playoffs. It'll probably be in second, and then they'll get kicked out in the second round, and we're tired of it. I don't talk about them until I see them in the final.
You're so sick of this conversation, right? Yeah, we know. San Jose's good. Who cares? Move on.
Prove it that you could go all the way. That's all I want from you now.
Well,
that's it.
Joe Thornton apparently has been banned from the next 30 games because he scored 4 goals the other night, and I don't want to I don't want to tell you what he did on the ice. So, yeah, he's not allowed in Colorado anymore. Let's just put it that way. No, I'm just kidding. Patrick Waugh, Joe Thornton did not score 4 goals, and he did keep all of his clothing on in the last game. But, yeah, that joke is not going to die. That joke's not going to die. We're going to let that run all year. Okay, now you got the Eastern Conference, last place. Oh, man. Philadelphia, 1-7-0. What is going on over there?
Yeah, right there, a complete mess. I don't know what's happening with the Flyers. Claude Giroux can't play anymore. I don't know. Man. It's depressing.
We should reference the Facebook page. We did point out that Mike Smith does currently have more goals than Claude Giroux. Think about that.
Wow.
Think about that.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm sad now, especially because I was so high on Giroux too.
He's such a good player too, man. What's going on with that guy?
It's and just as being a Montreal Canadiens fan, and it doesn't happen like this anymore. But a great French Canadian scorer. It's been so long since one's come up, and one that we thought could actually be one of the top 3 scorers in the NHL. And I just wanted to see a Quebec boy, get back up there again because it's been so long, and unfortunately, just not working out.
I don't know what's going to happen there. I think you might see the GM go next. Holmgren might be the next to go. I can't see them. They got to do something. They got to make some moves. They got to unload some more players. They got to reverse time and bring back Mike Richards and Jeff Carter or something. I don't know. They got to figure out something. In 15th spot, you got Buffalo, also in a tailspin, 1-8-1. I didn't realize how bad Buffalo was until I watched them play the Canucks, who didn't even play that good, but they were just so much better than Buffalo that it was like watching a Harlem Globetrotters game. Like
it's a mess.
It's like we had the puck the entire time.
They just don't care. They don't want to play hockey anymore. No, they've just folded it up. I don't know if they're feeling sorry for themselves or what it is, but
you got to get rid of Miller and Vanek. You got to trade them now while they can give you some assets. Don't do what Calgary did. Get rid of Vanek. Get rid of Miller. You'll get a good return, even if it's draft picks. You got to trade those guys. Miller is unfortunate because he has a no trade list. So, I mean, he's a little bit harder to move, and a lot of guys are reluctant to take Miller because obviously he only has 1 year left. But I'm guaranteeing you, trade deadline, there's a team that's in a prime playoff position to make a run. All they need is that extra step by acquiring a decent goaltender. I'm betting you by a trade deadline, Miller is moved to a playoff contender. I could see that happening for sure. Even a team that is willing to take the risk of him not re-signing because they know that if they get a grade A goalie, that might be all it takes to go on a cup run, right? So, I mean, I could see Miller being moved. 14th spot, poor Alain Vigneault, the Rangers, 2-5-0.
I just think this is hilarious. Like he got ragged on a lot after the last season in Vancouver, and he just can't catch a break now. His reputation is going to be going down the drain as the New York Rangers can't solve anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Henrik Lundqvist has been really average. I don't know what's going. Don't know what's going on with him. He hasn't been looking very good at all. Even Vigneault called him out, which is something he doesn't normally do. Even Vigneault said Lundqvist has to play better. Not blaming solely on Lundqvist. The entire team has to play better. But he said specifically, Lundqvist has to play a lot better. Elliot Friedman in his 30 Thoughts column today, which by the way is probably the best hockey column in hockey. It's amazing, a must read. Elliot Friedman today in his column 30 Thoughts said an unnamed source that works in for the Rangers is claiming that because of the equipment change the goalies had to go through, Lundqvist has a lot more holes all of a sudden because he plays very deep in the net, and obviously with the pads shrinking, he hasn't adjusted his game to match that, and because he plays so deep in the net, he can't rely on the pads anymore to bail him out. So all of a sudden, this goalie that had this, well, pretty much he was famous for possibly the best positioning in hockey. Like, he was positionally perfect. You just couldn't beat him one-on-one. All of a sudden, this great goaltender, world-class goaltender, has a bunch of holes. So it makes me wonder if they might try and get a new goalie coach to isolate that, to be like, okay, Henrik, all of a sudden now you don't have the gear you had before. You got to alter your game a little bit. Not drastically, but you have to positionally alter your game to make it so you don't have holes all around you, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's what they got to do, really. You said it. You nailed it.
Yeah, 13th spot. You got New Jersey, 1-4-3. They're not looking so hot. No surprise.
Kind of predicted this.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Expected.
Schneider looks good. That's a plus, I guess. Schneider looks good for Canucks fans, anyways. I guess that's a plus.
Yeah.
Florida's 12th, 3-6-0. Well, that's Florida, so we can move on. Washington is 11th, 3-5-0. Ovechkin looked great at first, but he's been a bit quiet lately, unfortunately for me, because he was the top of my pool, but he's not doing quite as much as he was in the first 6 games, so hopefully he will regain his form a little bit. A bunch of the Washington players were being criticized by the press in Washington for only playing during a power play. Like, they would wait for the power play and just turn their games on then at that point, but in the 5-on-5 play, Washington has been very average, to say the least.
Just not realizing or not working towards playing the whole 60 minutes, and I hate when teams do this. It's the biggest pet peeve. Just play the game.
Yeah, and Holtby actually has looked pretty good. To the point where there are rumors that Neuwirth is finally going to get dealt. He was a rumored goalie to go to Edmonton, but I mean, you wouldn't be getting Yakupov back for Neuwirth. He isn't that critically acclaimed, but he's a good goalie. He has the potential to possibly be a starter. He's definitely better than Dubnyk, however you want to pronounce his name. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Dubious Nick? I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing. But yeah, no, it's possible you'll see Neuwirth get moved. Washington is not looking so hot, but I think they're one of those teams that can still turn it around, so I'm not writing them off yet. In 10th spot, you got Columbus, 3-5-0. They've looked subpar, not as good as they looked last year. Bobrovsky's been quite good, but not amazing.
No, he'll start to pick it up, I think, though, just getting into the swing of things and playing with a team like Columbus, maybe not the best support for a goaltender, so still working out the kinks, I think, but they might make the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, hopefully if they make it this time, they at least make it under, the right terms, because remember last year they did technically make it. They were tied for 8th, but because of the stupid divisional system at the time, they got beaten out because, Chicago lost one night or something like that, and Minnesota ended up squeaking in on a technicality, but by all rights, Columbus should have been that 8th seed last year. They played much better than Minnesota, so hopefully if they do make it, at least they make it legitimately. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Columbus didn't look great against Vancouver last night. Vancouver just didn't look good at all, so Columbus was able to squeak one out. But I haven't been too impressed by what I've seen from Columbus yet, so it'll be interesting to see if they could turn it around. 9th spot, you got Ottawa, 3-3-2. A little bit surprising, because from what I've seen, they've looked pretty good. I mean, Jason Spezza's coming off of a hat trick the other night. He's really regained his form, bouncing back very nicely from that very devastating injury. I was expecting Ottawa to be doing better than they are in the standings, but I don't think they've looked terrible. I mean, you've probably seen them more than me, being a Habs fan.
Yeah, I haven't seen them too much, but I would agree with you. It's just they're kind of off to a slow start. The roster, we're waiting for Silverberg to get some points. We're waiting for Carlson to say, like, hey, here's my season of, 20 points more than any other defenseman.
Yeah, what's going on with Carlson, man? He's in my pool.
That's what we're waiting for.
He's in my pool. He's got to step it up.
Yeah, not that you need anybody to step it up right now.
Yeah, I mean, you said Silverberg. You probably meant Bobby Ryan, right?
That's yeah, that's exactly.
I know who you meant.
Bobby Ryan and
What are you drinking up in Mackenzie, man?
I did want to bring that up too because it just watching such a pure goal scorer with so much talent is so fun. I'm glad he's in a Canadian city. I just think it's an excellent move for Ottawa. So they got to start putting the puck in the net. Let's see here. Their goals for is not where it should be for that kind of talent on that roster. So hopefully we'll see that move up a little bit more. But I would think they're one of the better Canadian teams that we would see. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to move it up. I think this is sort of an anomaly. I would expect them to finish higher than 9th this year. They definitely got the talent to do it. 8th spot, you got Tampa Bay, 5-3-0. They're looking good, playing solid hockey. I mean, I guess some people could argue they're playing a little bit better than they should be.
Did we skip the Islanders?
I have them in 6th, but once again, my app, is set on Bermuda Triangle time, so I don't know.
I just want to check because they're 2 points back of Tampa, so I just wanted to make sure we didn't skip them. But that's fine, Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa is technically 8th by what I see based on the seeding in the divisions. But that is important to note. The Islanders are technically 2 points back, so Tampa's got something going there. I have Tampa tied with Montreal right now with 10 points, and Boston, they're all tied for 10th. 10 points. So it's not that Tampa's playing terribly or that great. Just right now in the Eastern Conference, there are 3 teams tied in points, which is expected. I mean, we're not even a month into the season yet, so that is going to happen.
And so it's a tight conference anyway. I mean, we always see 1 or 2 point differences between 3rd and 10th.
Yeah.
So.
Have you seen Tampa much this year? What have you thought of them? They're one of the few teams I haven't really watched as much as the others.
Doing better than last season. Their defensive plays come together a bit better. I don't know if that's the defensive coaching or what's happening there, but we always see them pumping in goals in the net. So it seems like they finally got both ends of the rink working for them, finishing checks, blocking shots. So that's always something you need to be doing to be able to play in this league. And I think Tampa Bay started to do that. So that's why we're finally seeing Stamkos and St. Louis in the playoffs. And I think they'll do better than where they are now in 7th place. So it'd be nice to see that.
Cool. Yeah. 7th spot, you got your boys, Montreal, 5-3-0. Playing some
Yeah, a little disappointed with the start so far. Price has kind of been stealing some games, and we have one line going for us, which is that Eller line that we were talking about earlier. But Pacioretty injured, now Briere injured. He was cold anyway to begin with.
Yeah, that's brutal about Pacioretty. Brutal about Pacioretty.
Yeah. Oh, man. It looked bad. I haven't even heard a diagnosis on it yet of how long he's going to be out. Have you?
I heard rumor it could be a couple months.
It still says undisclosed on TSN, so
yeah, I mean,
God, I hope that's not the case both for Montreal and for my hockey pool, but
that's just a rumor, but I mean, that's not a small injury, so I mean, historically, those sorts of injuries, you are out for a decent amount of time, 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks possibly, so, I mean, I hope that's not the case for him, but I would probably hazard a guess that he's probably at least a month. But, I mean, hopefully for you guys it's not that much because he's, arguably your best player or one of your best players. But it must be nice to see Price playing so well.
Yeah, it's nice to see him on his game, and it sucks it's not at the same time as the rest of the roster, but that he's the reason why we're in sixth right now. One shutout already this year, just stealing the show with highlight reel save after highlight reel save. Just need him to keep it up all year, and finally, silence his critics, because this will be the year to do that.
Well, as it stands right now, he might be the favorite.